Welcome to Built on Faith Homestead or Leaving Egypt, depending on which video platform you like to watch your content on. My name is Justin, and in today's video I'm going to discuss a few things. One of them being something that has definitely slid underneath my radar. I haven't seen any videos on it. I haven't heard anybody talking about it, yet it is going to impact us as a family. It's going to impact you as a family. It's going to impact your neighboring farms around you as a family. It's going to impact your community. It's going to impact the meat prices at the grocery store, at the local butcher shop, and the meat prices that you may be paying to your local farmer next door. It's going to have major implications on how people raise animals, and it's something I completely and totally missed, and I do apologize for that. But I want to discuss what is going on with that in this video. Also, I would encourage everybody that is paying attention to what's going on in Israel right now, go and read Luke chapter 21. Go see what it says. I'm not saying that right now is that. However, understand what it says and understand this day is going to come sooner or later. And I'll talk also a little bit about hand, foot, and mouth virus as an adult and how it's not very much fun. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I would ask you to stick around for the rest of the video.
I once was lost, oh, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see.
All right, so first and foremost, what is going on with the meat? How come meat's going to be more expensive? And what's going to affect our neighborhood farms that are around us and all that kind of thing, right? Let me tell you a little story. Our dairy cow, Wilma, has got a terrible parasite from a horsefly. And I called the vet. She was not doing very good. And I called the vet because I didn't know what was going on. And I explained what was happening, and the vet said what she had. And said you need to fill her full of LA-200. It is the only way that she can have a chance to recover. And so it was late and it was of a weekend, and I called the closest farm and home supply store that was around. And I said, hey, because they were the only people open. Our local feed stores and stuff, they were all closed by then. I said, hey, have you guys got any LA-200 on your shelf? And the lady said, we have one. Come buy it, and we will never have any again on our shelves. And I said, okay, I'll be there in a minute. So I went buzzing down there, and I got the LA-200, and I asked them, I said, hey, how come you guys aren't going to have any more of this on your shelf? Like, everybody needs it. It's a pretty common antibiotic that is used on all sorts of livestock for different illnesses. But it's very common. It's a penicillin is what it is. It's a very common antibiotic that's used. And they said, well, going forward, it is going to be against the law to sell that without a prescription from a vet. Now, I know that some of you may not think this is a big deal. However, as somebody that has grown up in this world, at least a little bit, and understanding how common of a medication that is for animals that get pink eye and pneumonia and whatever else that occurs to them. Apparently also potentially a parasite that comes from a horsefly that destroys red blood cells, and really the only hope is to fill them full of LA-200 and hope for the best. Understanding that sometimes, right, like, you need it, and you don't just need it when it's convenient, when a vet's open. Like, you need it right now. And farmers across the nation keep stuff like that on hand, and when they run low, they go to their local feed store and they get a little bit more. Or if an emergency comes up and they're out of it, they're able to go to their local farm store, farm and home supply, whatever it is, and go get it. Or they can call their neighbor, and a lot of times they'll have that kind of stuff at their house, right? And you can share, and you help one another, and you take care of one another, and all of those things. But now they've outlawed it. And of course, it's under the same guise, if you will, of why me and you cannot go and buy antibiotics over the counter. Well, it's because you're going to create all these antibiotic resistant strains of stuff because you're too stupid to figure out how to use it. That is the excuse that is used. You're too stupid to ask questions and figure out how to use it. You're not smart enough to research the information yourself and learn how to use it. You're too dumb for that. And since you common people are too dumb for that, then we must make it only available through a vet. Now, I'm not speaking nothing against vets. A good vet's hard to find and good and hard to beat, and you got to have them, right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a good vet. However, many farmers across many years now has learned how to take care of their livestock and learned what they needed. And them being able to do it themselves is what helps keep cost down. See, when you have to pay a vet to get a prescription, to get that same medicine that's now probably more expensive because now you have to get a prescription for it. It's just not over the counter, right? So that makes it higher. And you have to pay the vet for the prescription, which means you have to pay for some sort of visit, whether it's over the phone or whatever, right? Like, all of that is just going to add up. And then here's the crazy part, is this is going to hurt a lot of vets too, because there's a lot of vets that are out there, veterinarians that are out there, that are super good people. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to save as much money as they possibly can by making sure that they are keeping that cost down. And it's going to take time away from them to take care of other things that they may actually be more needed for, right? So good veterinarians across the country are going to do things like not charge very much at all, probably write an exorbitantly big prescription so that you can have extra of this stuff at your house, so you've got it the next time that you need it. However, they're not going to charge very much for that, but it's going to consume a bunch of their time. And now that that's consuming a bunch of their time, they don't have time to go on the calls or do the responses that they need to that actually need the help, therefore continuing to cause the cost to go up. Now, in case you think this is only going to affect animals, it's also going to affect your bottom line at your house, because it's going to make it all more expensive across the board, whether you like it or whether you don't. Another thing that I find interesting is, I don't know if you know that this exists or not, but there's this thing called fish mox. It's amoxicillin that is sold in feed stores and pet stores that is for your fish tanks, right? And there's little capsules a lot of the times, and you open up the little capsule and you dump it down into your fish tank, and it gets rid of the bacteria. It's an amoxicillin is what it is. The interesting thing is, if you type in the little capsule, the little code that's on the pill, which, by the way, like, pills are supposed to have these little codes on them that you can look up, so that in case you find a pill, you can figure out what it is and know what it is. So if you type that pill code in, what you're going to find is the amoxicillin sold in feed stores and pet stores, and the amoxicillin that many of the people that preach preparedness might have in their prepared stored items, yeah, it's also outlawed. So if you yourself have a sinus infection and you've become accustomed to running to the feed store or the pet store to get some amoxicillin that, by the way, for your warning, is not stored for human safety, it is stored for animal safety. It comes from the same places, it comes from the same productions, they're all bottled at the same place. It's just whether or not they've been treated in such a way where it is available, or where it is good for humans or animals. That's the difference. So if you become accustomed to doing that when you have a sinus infection, and you actually know you've been sick for a week, and you maybe got a little bit better, and then you got sicker, and now your face is swelled up and it's even hot, and you're running a fever, and you know that you have a sinus infection, but remember, you're too stupid to heal it yourself. This is the reason why I believe we are on a path to outlawing things like gardening, because I believe that the government one of these days is going to decide that we are too stupid to do it safely. It's the reason why I think you need to learn to do it, and do it now, and save seeds the best that you can, and buy heirloom plants the best that you can, so that you can save the seeds, so that you can grow the plants, and go ahead and buy yourself a canner if you can afford it, because who knows how long that will still be legal, because you don't have a license for it, and if you do it wrong, you might die. And since you're too stupid to do it, well, then we'll have to take that away from you, and now you have to go to the grocery store where, there's never a recall on anything ever, except for there is all of the time. This is the direction that we are headed. Now, let's switch gears just a little bit. Why do I believe we're headed this direction? Well, it actually has to do with things like what's going on in Israel today, with all of the wars and the rumors of wars and those kinds of things, according to the Bible, one of these days Jerusalem will be trodden down of the Gentiles. That will happen, and the Antichrist will take charge. And we need to understand that day is going to come. I've been asked some about this current battle that's going on over there, and my answer is always the same, is they've been doing this my whole life. Every once in a while, they get to lobbing bombs at each other over there, and then it settles back down. But one of these days, it's not going to. One of these days, it will be the time that is prophesied in the Bible, specifically Luke, like 21, right? Like that will happen one of these times. And when it does, the Antichrist is going to set up his rule. Now, why do I think, what does that have to do with buying LA200 at the feed store? Well, you see, while you can buy, like right now, I could, theoretically, I could have went to the feed store, paid cash, got my LA200, come back and give it to my animal. And there's really no government involvement there as far as tracking and tracing and monitoring and all of that kind of stuff, right? Like, that's not, I guess unless I take my phone with me, there's not a whole lot of that involved. But you see, as we get further and further away from people being able to be self-sustainable, the more the government will bear down upon each and every one of us, which is what is needed to happen so that Antichrist can take full and total rule, where you cannot buy or sell without having that mark of the beast. So you understand how all of this is related? The famines, the sicknesses, the pestilences, the wars, the rumors of wars, the higher grocery bills. Do you understand how all of the 15-minute cities and packing everybody into the same spot? Do you understand that this is all pointing towards what the Bible would call the time of great tribulation, ultimately ending in Christ's return, the destruction of the Antichrist, and our gathering together to Christ forever and ever. So, that's the direction we're headed. That's what's going on. I'm very sorry that I missed the no more over-the-counter antibiotics without a prescription for your livestock. June 2023, right? So it's already come and went. I guess they're allowed to sell what they've got left on the store shelves, and that's it. So, I'm sorry I've missed that, but I think we would do good by trying to, I don't know, get some sort of congressman or somebody to reverse that. That's a terrible thing. What's next? Dewormers? I mean, probably, all right, because ivermectin's possibly helpful for, you know, human stuff too, and so we got to get rid of that. Can't buy it for your livestock. You may actually be able to self-sustain a little bit. Anyway, oh, hand, foot, and mouth. I forgot. I went off my rabbit trail there. So, those of you that don't know, I made a video last week, and I haven't made one since because I have felt terrible. Apparently, adults can get hand, foot, and mouth, and it can range anywhere from like not that bad to awful. And I had closer to the awful version. I had these awful blisters all over my hands and my feet. My feet are still really tender. My hands are a little tender. I got these gross boils right now that are busting, that according to whatever, I still am contagious, so I'm not doing a whole lot other than kind of staying around the house. But man, if you get hand, foot, and mouth, be in it for the long haul. You will get better, but be in it for the long haul. Fevers, sore throat, hands and feet and all of that just broke out, hurting real bad. For us, me and Bo, we got it worse than the girls. So I don't know if it's one of those deals where maybe it's a little worse. So if you'll study some of the stuff from especially the early analysis of the latest and greatest virus that went around in about 2019, it affected especially military-age men overwhelmingly worse than the rest of society. So that's something to look into for sure. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm sorry about the rambling. It's been a while since I missed a video. It's just nice to talk to you guys. Been a while since I made a video. I can't talk today. Been a while since I made a video. It's just nice to talk to you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next one.